Nobody's ever gonna take your place. Yeah, I think we should meet in the middle. I follow you cause you're the light of the day. I need you like you need me, it's so simple. It's so simple.
Welcome back to the Gen X Juggler podcast. I'm so glad you're here. As always, this podcast is for entertainment and informational purposes only and should not be considered professional advice in any field, including legal, medical, financial, or mental health. Please consult a qualified professional for advice tailored specifically to you. Well, jugglers, I am very pleased to report that we have made it through another school year. School's out, teacher let the mules out, and my little mule is home for the summer. This was a tough year. It was her freshman year of high school. Very different from junior high, but she adjusted well. There were definitely days of discouragement and exhaustion as she tried to keep up with her homework and her activities, but she made it. I am so proud of her, and now it is summer. I know summer doesn't actually start until June 20th. However, those of you who have kids in school know it starts the day school gets out, because the next school year is just waiting right around the corner, and it will be here way more quickly than you expect. So we've got to make the most of every minute of the summer, and of course that includes family vacations. Do you remember how important family vacations were growing up in the 80s and 90s? They were so important that National Lampoon made an entire series of movies about them. The first one being the best, of course. National Lampoon's Vacation was the perfect depiction of the chaos, the camaraderie, how everything can go wrong and still come together on a family vacation. That's where memories are made. Now, I am an only child, so our family vacations were never quite as complicated as I know some could be. I didn't have anyone in the back seat saying, "I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you." Yes, family vacation could be stressful, but it was also so much fun. We took a couple of big vacations when I was growing up. When I was 6 years old, we went to Nashville. My little 6-year-old self was a huge country music fan. I had been since the late 70s and into the early 80s. We're talking Barbara Mandrell, Dolly Parton, Loretta Lynn, Conway Twitty, T.G. Shepherd, Johnny Cash. I cannot leave out Johnny Cash. My dad might put me up for adoption even at almost 50 years old if I do not say Johnny Cash in that list. And he's worthy, so worthy. Anyway, we went to Nashville and I was so excited. I bought a cowboy hat at Tommy Cash's Western wear store, who is Johnny Cash's brother. I got to go to a record store in Nashville, Tennessee and buy Dolly Parton's Working Girl on an 8-track. I was over the moon. I felt like it was extra special that I had purchased this 8-track in a record store in Nashville, Tennessee. It was somehow closer to the source. It was like farm to table, only music. And we didn't have an 8-track player in our home at the time, so when we got home, I would go outside and start my dad's pickup and put in the 8-track. Working Girl was the album that had the song Working 9 to 5 on it, and I wore that thing out. So that was a special vacation. Our next big vacation was when I was 10 years old, and on this one we got to fly. Flew into Boston, spent a couple days in Boston. Then we went up to Maine and spent a few days with my dad's Navy buddy and his family. We got to see where my parents had lived when my dad was stationed in Newport, Rhode Island. My parents lived in Boston. It was neat to take the tour and see my parents' early married life unfold before me and see all of the neat history in Boston. I loved that. One of my most memorable moments on that trip was when a man was just walking by and I was talking to my family and he stopped me and asked me to talk for him so he could hear my Texas accent. That was interesting and kind of fun. Riding the subway was also interesting and kind of fun for this Texas girl. It was a whole lot different than riding my horse to town, I'll tell you that. And those vacations were great. But the vacation that comes to mind when I think of summer is the place we went every year. You know, the home away from home vacation that you can count on every summer. Did you have one like that? I sure did. And it was at a little campground in Cotopaxi, Colorado. When I first started going, I believe it was called the Loma Linda Campground. It was on the Arkansas River, right there in Cotopaxi. And then it became the Arkansas River KOA. later, if I remember right. Now, I don't honestly remember my first time going because I was so young, I don't remember. My parents went before I was born, and then the tradition continued after. So it was literally an all my life tradition. My dad worked 5.5 days a week every week, but Labor Day weekend was our camping weekend in Cotopaxi. Every year, that was what we did. Sometimes my dad would go ahead and work on Saturday. After my dad got home, we would pack up and drive on that Saturday afternoon, the 4.5 hours to get to Cotopaxi. Sometimes he would take Saturday off and we would just leave after he got home from work on Friday evening, which would put us there really late. Most of the time, whether we left on Friday or Saturday, we would get there at dusk or at dark. And I just remember seeing the mountains through the darkness and knowing we were there and being so happy to be there. It was just one of my favorite places. We had ice cream socials, we had hay rides, we had miniature golf, we had a swimming pool that was not too deep and I could touch in most of the swimming pool, which was impressive to me when I was 8 years old, for sure. So we would spend Labor Day weekend there having all of that fun. When I got older, my parents would let me bring a friend so that they didn't have to entertain me and they could have their time enjoying the relaxing camping experience and I could have someone to hang out with. Very smart. My friend Lori, who you may remember from a few past episodes of the podcast, was my constant companion at Cotopaxi. When we were little girls, we couldn't wait to get up and throw rocks in the river and go swimming and just spend all the fun time together and play the miniature golf and go on the hayride. And then when we got older, we couldn't wait to get up, go to the bathhouse, get our showers, get all pretty, because you never knew there might be a family with a cute boy that would show up later in the day. Most years, the cute boys never materialized. However, the summer of 1991, we pull in, it's dark, we're excited to be there, we glance over, and lo and behold, there are 2 teenage boys sitting on the steps in front of the general store where you go in and pay your money and get your campsite number and get everything settled for your weekend. We kind of walk up to where they are because we have to go by there anyway. Small talk starts. What are your names? Where are you from? Are you staying all weekend? And then we said, how old are you? Because they looked older. We felt like they were older than us, but they were 15 and we were 15. This had the makings of a great weekend, I thought. Immediately, Lori strikes up a conversation with one of these guys. They hit it off. They're having a great time. His friend is incredibly stuck up, seems to want nothing to do with me. I decide to go toe-to-toe with that energy and not give him the time of day. So while Lori and the one guy are getting acquainted, having fun, we're just kind of following along, not speaking to one another, and just looking up to glare every now and then. But Saturday, I'm told that this boy that I wanted nothing to do with and who wanted nothing to do with me said something funny and I laughed. And all of a sudden he decided I must be brilliant because I thought he was hilarious. We struck up a conversation, wound up hanging out as another couple with Lori and her guy for the weekend. And I'm pleased to report that almost 34 years later, that boy whom I wanted nothing to do with is one of my dearest friends. So that is a fun memory to look back on from that particular year at Cotopaxi. As the years went by, my family continued to go to Cotopaxi. After I got married, after I had babies, we just kept going. That was a family tradition. One of my favorite memories is bathing my babies in little totes, little Rubbermaid totes that we would fill with water we warmed at our campsite for them to take a bath on a picnic table with the river rushing by, them just sitting under the pine trees in the sunshine in this makeshift bath that they were enjoying. And I thought, man, this is the life. And it's just such a full circle moment to bring your own children to the place where you grew up having vacations. Our last vacation at the Arkansas River KOA in Cotopaxi, Colorado, was the summer of 2018. My oldest son couldn't join us, and I don't remember why, but he was an adult by that time, so I'm sure he had obligations or something else going on. He may have better dealed us. I don't know. He wasn't able to go. My second oldest was about to start his senior year of high school, and our little girl was 8. And we went and had fun like we always had, not knowing that that would be the last time we would get to go. Shortly after that, the campground closed. We've driven by it a few times. It just looks like a ghost town. One of my greatest dreams of life is that maybe one day that campground will come for sale. And maybe by some miracle, I will have the means to purchase it and restore it to its former glory. But I can tell you this, whether it's me or someone else, as soon as someone takes a chance and opens that place up again, I will be the first in line to go back and relive those beautiful memories that I had there for so many years, from the mid-70s into the second decade of the 2000s. What a magical place that was. And you know, sometimes you don't know when the last time will be the last time. The beautiful thing is we've got those memories to cherish forever. Where did you go when you were a kid? Was there a particular vacation or a particular vacation spot that just stuck with you, that you have that special feeling toward and those special memories? Sharing stories about our favorite vacations feels like a wonderful way to start the summer, don't you think? Please leave a comment and let me know about your favorite family vacations growing up. There was nothing like summertime in the 1980s and 90s. The air smelled like sunscreen and push pops, and every day was an adventure waiting to be had. And family vacations were such a big part of that. That does it for this episode of the Gen X Juggler podcast. I hope you have some wonderful, fun summer memories from back in the day and that you make even more great memories this summer. I do have one thing that I want to say before we go. I know many of you will remember from episode 10, you may have cancer, but cancer doesn't have you. Our friend Christy is fighting a new battle. I mentioned in an earlier podcast that some pain had returned for Christy and she was going into the doctor to find out what was going on. Well, she did go in to the doctor and she found out that she has stage 4 lung cancer. She has the best attitude of anyone I've ever met who has a recent stage 4 cancer diagnosis. Her attitude is, there's hope. My oncologist has said there's hope. As long as there's hope, that hope is there for me, and I am going to beat this thing. She's mad, and she's channeling that feeling into her fight. Her oncologist says that's the way to do it. Stay angry. Keep that fight in you. Keep that fire, and she has it. I would like to ask all of you to join me in continuing to pray for Christy and encouraging her. Any message that you send me for her will get to her, I promise. So let's join together and send her all the positivity that we possibly can and send up some prayers on her behalf. I look forward to our next time together. Until then, friend, let's keep on juggling.
Yeah, I think we should meet in the middle. I follow you 'cause you're the light of the day. I need you like you need me, it's so simple. It's so simple.